So I recently visited a childhood theme park that was a good time, called which
Cool.
which you used to work at, correct?
Yes, for about 7 years, I worked at this place.
Where ride did you work at a specific ride, or weren't you like the manager?
So I started out working in the water park,
What ride were you
uh,
on?
all of them.
Oh, every single one. Like the
Yes,
guy kicking the kids down the slide.
yes, that was me.
Okay,
Had great
nice.
fun doing that. Then I became management in the water park. Then I was an EMT, and then I was an EMT and night security.
Whoa, they really
Yeah,
gave
I
you
did a
every
lot.
position.
Yes.
Dang. I'm surprised they're still holding up after now that you're gone.
Well, I do. Okay. I don't know what stories to tell since
Okay,
we have now named the amusement park.
that's true. That's true. Maybe we should not. I didn't think about that. These stories may be a liability for the theme park, but we can take. Can we take out the name? We can take out the name, right?
Yeah, I can bleep it.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean some of the stuff we would do, some of it's not too bad. Like it's kind of what you would expect. We used to so like when I was management, we would have to test ride the slides every day in our area.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Maybe
well, it's
if you're
fun
into
for your
that sort of
first
thing.
week. It's fun for your first week, and then you get real tired of riding water slides. So we would do things on these slides, such as have Chinese fire drills.
Is
Do
isn't
you know
that
what a Chinese fire drill is?
is that what it the thing where you're in the car and then you stop and everyone switches seats in the middle of the highway?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah, we
not
we would
quite
do
sure I
that,
follow.
and
Like
so
midway
basically,
through the. Okay, sorry.
yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
would we would basically be halfway down the slide, or like sometimes it would depend on when we would do it, but we would all just jump out of the tube and then switch seats.
Oh my gosh, what ride was
Yeah.
even like slow enough for you to do that? Because going on them all, like I
So it's
couldn't
not
imagine
about
any ride.
slowness. It's not about being slow. It's about the length of it.
Mm. If you
Because
just
like
have.
there was one there, which is called. Well, no, hold on. No, I shouldn't name things. Um, there's facts about these slides that I know because I worked there for 7 freaking years,
I know. I really want
and
to
I'm like, I don't want to
hear
say these
these.
facts.
I really want to hear
Like,
these
okay, whatever.
facts
It's
about.
like one of the slides is the world's longest completely enclosed water slide.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah,
I would say
that
all these
one you can
rides
do it no
still held up.
problem.
Why? Because it was so long.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
did you
we could do them in most of them.
like you fully got out of the raft, or you
Yes.
crawled over each other? How did you like get? Were you like faster than the raft once you were on the in the
Well,
slide?
okay. Well, actually, this is a fun story. So, have you seen the movie The Way Way Back?
I've not, but I know that's about
First
a
off,
kid in a water park, right?
it's a fantastic movie. I love it partially because I worked in a water park,
Would you say
and
it's
there's
realistic to the experience?
it's a Hollywoodized style of it, but yes,
Okay,
I won't say no.
it's the romantic Hollywood version of working in a water
Yeah,
park. Yeah.
yeah, but it's fairly accurate.
Okay.
But where was I? What was
Um,
it?
you were.
Oh,
That
okay.
was
So
some.
there's at the end of the movie, there's this whole. Throughout the movie, they talk about one guy passed another guy in the water slide, right? And like
Okay.
on these like little mats where you jump down, like you're on your
Oh
stomach,
yeah,
and
yeah. Okay, yeah, I
in
remember that.
those.
Yeah.
Um, and so like there was a day at and like at the end of the movie, the kid does that, and they're like, "Oh, how did it happen?" And there's a whole like poetic bullshit coming of age nonsense. Which I love, by the way. Like coming of age movies, I am such a sucker for. Anyways, the yeah, there was one day a buddy of mine were like, we should try that, and we can do it. There we could only manage to do it on one slide, but we did it, and it made me very proud.
Was it I guess I shouldn't ask for the specific slides.
Yes, it was the Zimbabwe.
Okay. The Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Yeah, Zimbabwe.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, all the rides still held up, I think. It's kind of a great park, to be honest.
It is. I do mean it when I say, like, it's the best water park in the country.
Yeah, I mean, not that I've maybe been to like one or two other water parks, so don't know that I would say that, but it's definitely like up to par with every other one. And when you say like the name, which I guess we're not including, but people are like, what in the world is this? Sounds like kind of a ghetto kind of random concept of a park.
It's the world's first theme park, specifically theme park.
Oh, wow.
And it is the water coaster capital of the world, too.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. You really do know all the facts.
Yeah, I worked there for a while. I really liked working there, man. I had so much fun.
Would you ever
doing
go back
things
there?
I absolutely should not have been doing at 18.
Did they, do you miss, would you go back there?
Now? No.
Yeah. I feel like that, like, as fun as it, like, the environment would be, I feel like it would get really old to just be soaking wet all day, like, standing up there at the top of the thing, kicking kids down.
Oh, it sucks. It sucks so bad.
Because it's fun when you're going from ride to ride, because you have the adrenaline, but when you're just standing still, like, kind of soaked, yeah.
And then you have people getting pissed at you because the tubes aren't coming up any faster. And then when you're like, no, you can't have two 300-pound men sit with a 90-pound child between them. Why? That's weird. No, you can't go down by yourself.
Yeah, that's... I did all those things. And they let me get away with it because you're not there anymore.
Oh, dude, I need to go back and whip him into shape.
Yeah. Yep. I specifically picked out two 300-pound men to sit between. And we got away with it. So.
Nice.
All right. Well, anyways.
Yeah. We should get started with the show.
Yeah.
That I will say that can be a go-to for cold open at any time. Just tell me to talk about.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm sure you have a million stories. I mean, with all the different jobs that you've had, you probably have at least one good story for every job you've worked.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Whether it shows me in a good light or not.
We'll just have to be more careful, I guess, about the names that we say.
Yeah. There is one thing, like, I don't know if I would ever say this where it's recorded, or at least where...
As we're doing now.
It's going to be heard by anyone, because I'm going to cut this out, but... Hello, and welcome to Unqualified. What? I wanted to pause so I could cut it.
Okay,
Hello, and welcome to Unqualified. A show where two people, because I'm not allowed to mention our race anymore, talk about things which we have no qualifications, which is most things. It doesn't really narrow down the topics. The premise of the show is each week we bring a hot take and discuss the merits and non-merits of that hot take.
That's a good description.
Did that make sense?
Yes. I feel like that's a good description of what we do.
Cool.
Even though it is a good description, but it does not apply to today. So, right.
Well,
or maybe it does. Maybe. Oh, no. Just
they don't know that yet.
Well, they're going to know it in like 30
seconds.
Well,
I'm your host, Anty, with no other hosts this episode, because I'm the only one talking, because my hot take engulfs all hot takes, and my hot take is that Warhammer 40,000 is the greatest fiction franchise ever created.
That's a pretty hot take.
Yeah. I have notes for this one.
I know nothing about Warhammer. You are the one who first introduced me to it, and by introduced I mean
Yes.
just told me it existed, and
Okay.
that's about as far as I understand it.
Okay, so you don't know anything about Warhammer?
I mean, you told me it's like a role-playing game, right?
No.
No. Okay. Well, then never mind. I know nothing.
Okay. So Warhammer, the franchise, it started out, it's a tabletop war game. So basically you buy little figures, build them, paint them up, and then you set them on the table and pit them in battle against each other. And
Sounds
then,
like a role-playing game to me.
It's not. It's different.
Okay.
You're controlling armies. You aren't controlling individuals.
Okay.
So yes, but it is in that it is also this massive science fiction franchise
Okay.
with like tons of books, shorts. You know, there's so many books. One of their book series, the Horus Heresy, which is what I'm working through right now, has 54 books in it.
The whore is heresy.
Horus, Horus.
Okay. Gotcha. Horus heresy.
So
Nice
the
alliteration.
gist of what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to keep feeding you Warhammer information until you finally get interested, and it gives me an excuse to do an episode like this again.
Okay. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell if I'm actually interested or I'm just begging for it to be over. But
That's a good
I guess we'll find out.
Yes.
Tell me why it's superior to every other like fictional sci-fi universe. Star Wars, Harry Potter.
I think it's better. One, it's super grim dark. Like the opening line of most Warhammer books, like the playbooks and rule books and stuff, is in the 41st millennium there is only war.
Okay.
And like that's just the whole gist of it. It is a bad time. You do not want to exist here. There are no good guys. It's amazing.
So that automatically makes it like super niche. Like this makes it no longer like a family friendly thing that everyone's going to be interested in. This is only for people that are super into dark, grim, kind of obscure sci-fi stories.
Not necessarily, because there's a lot of humor in Warhammer. Like, for instance, there's many different factions. And
factions
one
of
them,
what?
Armies. So like there's I'll just list them all because this is how I got into it, is because of the lore, which is great, and that's what I have notes on. So you have the Imperium of Man, which is humans. You have the Eldar, which are basically space elves.
Like
you
Lord
have
of the Rings.
orcs. There's a lot of Lord of the Rings references. There's a lot of references to everything. One of the first named characters in Warhammer history is Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau.
I see. Interesting. Yes. So
there's a lot of a lot, and we'll get to it. Okay, so Imperium, Eldar. There's orcs, which is spelled, Orks, and
I thought it was CS.
Love orcs.
Or is that great? Like, it's spelled different to be different?
Everything's spelled like that in Orcish.
With a K.
Like, and also the orcs have like this horrible Cockney accent.
So wait, is this a game or are there like movies? Like what accent? Where are you hearing an accent?
Oh, they talk like this. No, that's not it. I'm gonna cut that out. Have you never heard a Cockney accent?
Well, I know what the accent is, but like, where are you getting the idea that they speak in that accent? Because then you say it's just a game, a tabletop game.
It's a game and books and shorts and animations and all video games,
okay. So it's
all kinds of stuff.
Just an accepted fact that's how they talk.
Well, it's also because in like whenever they have it in text, it's spelled like that. Like teeth is spelled T-E-E-F. They're teeths.
Okay, nice.
Whenever they shoot,
that's funny.
They go daka 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 daka, because if they yell that, their rounds hit harder. The orcs have an ability where if enough of them believe something, it becomes true.
Oh my gosh.
So
You would.
they will paint their they'll paint their bombs yellow because that makes explosions bigger, and it works because enough of them believe that it makes their explosions bigger. They'll paint their vehicles red because red is a fast color. They'll paint them they'll paint them purple if they want to be stealthy. You know why?
I don't know why.
Have you ever seen a purple orc?
I have not ever seen a purple orc.
There you go.
I guess
that
true.
is the canonical logic behind them doing.
Dude, are the orcs aware that it like literally makes them true? Like if they believe it literally makes it true. Okay, so they're not aware. It's not like something where they could all sit down and be like, okay, let's all believe that we've won, that we will win all the wars, and they just automatically win the wars.
Yeah.
They couldn't do that though, because they're not aware that believing it makes it possible.
It's complicated. It's some psychic bullshit.
I see.
There is some things where it's like, yeah, this is just
karma
bullshit.
Manifestation of
it's
vibes.
We don't know
positive energy.
in canon. We don't know why this works.
Okay.
Like, orcs will get a vehicle, and it will be like it will be captured by the Imperium, right? Imperium scientists, like if a human picks it up, it won't work because it only worked because the orc believed it did. Okay,
that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, they're rad.
So it seems like the orcs are always going to be the team to be.
No.
Okay.
Because they're very goofy. Like in the actual tabletop game, a lot of their stuff relies on chance. Like it very much is like, okay, if you roll 6s, amazing things happen, but if you don't roll 6s, it's bad.
Okay.
Or like there's a certain on one of the vehicles, I can't remember what it is, but it's like whenever you fire this weapon, you roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, it misfires and nothing happens. On I can't remember the rules. I'll have to look it up sometime. It's a wild thing. It gives you, when you use the weapon, you have the option of like 5 different types of rounds to use.
Okay.
Like explosive rounds, armor piercing, that kind of stuff. But then the dice roll itself always forces it to be a different round. Like the same round. Yeah. So you have a list of like explosive, armor piercing, and then you pick like armor piercing, and then you roll the dice, and nope, too bad, it's a regular round.
And
so it's just.
Wait, where does the believing part come in? So like you're saying you believe it's going to be armor piercing, and
that was a tabletop rule.
Okay, if you didn't roll the right thing, then. The tabletop rule is different than the canonical rule, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's in universe, and then that was a table, like if you're playing the game.
Okay, gotcha.
And then this is how this works in universe. Okay, so got up to orcs. There's Necrons, which are like these robot mummies that, so they were an ancient race that got trapped into these robot bodies. They no longer have a soul. And there's only, like, they have these, like I said, this Egyptian theming. They come from tomb worlds, and they typically come out of these giant, like, buried pyramids.
What does not having a soul entail? That they just can't die?
No, they can. If their body gets destroyed, they still die. But not having a soul means they don't cast a shadow in the warp, which is hell, which is the home of another faction called Chaos, which I will get to in a second.
Okay, all right.
Because they're my favorite.
Okay.
Okay, so Necrons, they're very much designed after Terminators. So, like, they're this slow marching but inevitable death.
All right. It's kind of cool.
Like, yes, they're slow, but they're going to get to you no matter where you go. No matter, like, it just is gonna take time. They have some sick weapons, like, I believe it's the Gauss Flayer. How it works is it basically destroys every single one of your atoms in an instant.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That, like, vaporizes you?
Yes, which is horribly painful, but it is one of the better ways to die in 40K.
And say if it happens in an instant, like,
Yes.
you wouldn't even know.
But, like, yeah, imagine every single one of your atoms exploding at the same time. And that's what getting hit by a Gauss flare would feel like.
Okay. I don't really know
They
how to imagine
also-
that, but
They play Pokemon with their gods, which is really cool.
Pokemon's in this universe, the Warhammer universe.
Sort of. Well, okay, so they have these gods, or had these gods, that, like, way before 40K takes place, there was a war. I'm not going to talk about the war in heaven. This is why I have notes, because there's a lot going on here. So they have these gods. These are the people that tricked them. Basically, they lived on a horrible planet where the average life expectancy, I believe, was like 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
It was something ridiculous
That's
like
rough.
that. Like, you die young
Tough
and you
life.
die painfully. Just by existing on this planet. So they were offered a deal by these gods to give them immortality in exchange for helping them fight against other gods.
Okay.
Because it was the Catan made the deal with the Necrons, and then the old ones made the orcs. It's very confusing.
Okay.
This is why I have notes.
Are you I can't tell if you're looking at notes or waiting for me to respond.
The thing is, none of my notes are about any of this. I thought I was going to start with the Horus heresy.
Yeah. How many factions are there?
Okay, so there's... You know enough about Necrons. I don't need to go into the details of them more.
Okay.
There's Imperium, Eldar, Orcs, Necrons, Tyranids, which are an alien hive mind. So they're really neat in that. So they're basically like giant not always giant, but bug creatures. Everything about them is organic. So the ships they fly, like when they're going across space, are actually living creatures.
Ooh, I don't like that.
When they fire bullets at you, they don't actually fire bullets. No, they're firing a swarm of maggots that burrow into your skin.
Ew.
Yeah, they're gnarly.
What are they firing it from?
Themselves.
Whatever is making the magnets? Or okay. They just
Yes.
produce the
So
maggots out of their arms?
They're not... They are amazingly adaptable. So any planet they land on, they wipe it out. Like, they take any organic material they take. So they can reproduce it and use it to make other Tyranids and continue on their path. We don't know what motivates the Tyranids.
Other than conquering everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's more... So there's a theory that the Tyranids are the only real good guys because nothing they do is necessarily intentional. Like, yes, it's intentionally harming people, but they are just following their need and their hunger. Like, that is it. They're operating as an animal.
Okay. But you wouldn't say that the Necrons are not?
No, because they have sentience and consciousness.
Okay. So
Tyranids do not.
So,
well, they have sentience, but like they're animals.
They have no moral standard of anything.
Right.
And they're the only faction that is like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I gotta count. So I think there's 9 total factions. Unless it's counting sub-factions. I'm doing a Google. So I know I have Chaos. I haven't talked about Chaos.
When was all of this made?
So Warhammer started in the 80s, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while.
As a game, originally?
It started out as a game, but it just grew. It started out in Britain. And like all their stuff is made in Britain. Or England, I don't know. But they've had their hand in some other stuff, I think. Like, they do... Games Workshop also does... Has Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which is a fantasy version of it. They have the Lord of the Rings tabletop game. They have one called Blood Bowl, which is fantasy football, but fantasy as in, like, orcs and goblins and knights and things. It's rad.
Playing a football game?
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, so I haven't talked about sub factions yet.
I assume there's a smaller sub species of each group, right?
I just want to make sure I get through all the Xenos, because I don't know the aliens as well. Oh! Oh, you moron! I didn't talk about the Tau! Okay. So the Tau, they are space communism. And yes, I'm being reductive. So their whole motivation, they are a sentient race. They are the youngest race in 40K. And they have started this, instead of basically going to a planet
what is 40K?
40K stands for 40,000, which is the year it takes place, which is also wrong because it takes place in the year 41,000, but it started out in 40K.
How many different... Are there a bunch of different years, too?
There are, like, years mean something in the lore, but that's about it. It doesn't, like, gameplay-wise.
So when you say 40K, are you differentiating it from some other version of the game, or...
No,
Okay.
I'm just shortening
okay.
the Warhammer 40K down to 40K.
Okay.
The Tau. Yes, so they are, like I said, space communism. They are about, basically, so when humans get to a planet, they say, join us or we kill you. Or, if it's aliens on that planet, they just kill all of you.
Okay.
Because the Imperium of Man is very racist. The Tau Empire, when they go to a planet, they say, hey, we have this whole, like, empire of planets founded on preserving the greater good. Like, that is their tagline, for the greater good. Now, if you say no, will they do it forcefully? Yes. But it's fine.
Well, it sounds like guys. If their tagline is for the greater good, maybe they're the only good guys in the universe.
That's a theory. One of the things I love about 40K is the fan theories that happen. There's so much in the lore that's unexplained, but there's so much lore that it's like, okay, I see why you haven't talked about this yet.
Bless you.
Thank you. They are, weaponry wise, they're about long range fights. They're about shooting you with a railgun from 1,000 miles away when you, like, before you see them.
Oh, shoot. They
have giant mech robots that are piloted by fighters, and they can go in and wreak some havoc.
So are they like humans, basically? Like, what kind of species are they?
They're all species.
Okay. So it's more of an ideal than a set species.
No. I'm gonna look up a picture of a Tau. So they are any species can join them. What they have is a caste system, though. So if you are in, I don't remember exactly all the caste, but if you are in the fire caste, you get to be military. If you don't want to be military, you get to go to a re-education camp. And if you still don't want to be military, you get to disappear. So, yeah. They aren't really good guys by any means.
Yeah.
Because this is Warhammer and there are no good guys. Here is a picture.
Are you gonna be able to show it to me? Or are you just reminding yourself what it looks like?
No, I was grabbing it and now I will put it in there. Nope, not there. Where did I save it? Okay, I'm not. This is too much work at this point. So when they're represented on the tabletop, they have like these blue faces with like almost no nose.
So Voldemort.
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
A blue Voldemort. So yeah, that's what the Tau is all about. So, finally, onto my favorite faction, Chaos.
Like the Get Smart Chaos. The evil spies and Get Smart.
No. So no, these are like hell demons, bad boy demon boys, eat your face.
Interesting.
Which is a lot.
So
of
they're literal,
40K, so.
like it's literal demons.
Not in the way. So they're called demons in the lore. It's not demons as we understand them. So basically, there's our plane of existence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then underneath our plane of existence is what is called the warp. And that is where demons spawn. And all of our emotional energies cast a shadow on that warp.
Like
and
the Upside Down.
Basically, yeah, kind of.
Nice.
That is a way to think about it. Not quite correct, but yes. So in order to travel like faster than light through the universe, what humans have to do is they have to go through the warp. So they have to travel through hell, and then they will pop out the other side where they need to be.
Okay.
In hell, there are what are known as the 4 chaos gods.
All right.
They are Nurgle, Tzeentch, Khorne, and Slaanesh.
And what do they do?
So they create demons, and they corrupt humans, and they hate the Emperor.
And why are they your favorite?
So I shouldn't say Chaos as a whole is my favorite. Chaos Space Marines are my favorite.
Okay.
Although
That doesn't mean anything to me.
I know. Okay.
Is this
Chaos
just another version of the game? Space Marines?
No.
Okay.
Space Marines are a faction in the game.
One of the sub factions, or
yes.
Okay.
So Chaos, it has the 4 major Chaos gods, and they each kind of represent a different emotion or different desire. And each of these Chaos gods, they also spawn demons, and those demons will then invade real space and kill people. And how Chaos works. This is very weird and bouncing all over the place. So like I said, we all have emotional energies. Each of those Chaos gods is connected to one of those emotional energies. So
like
the
Inside
more
Out?
No. Yes. They aren't inside your head.
Okay.
It's more like the things that go out of your head feed them.
Out of the collective humanity's head, not just one person. Okay.
So like you have Nurgle, who is the god of decay and filth and sickness and disease and plague.
So
sounds like a horrible guy, right?
Sure.
Okay, but the flip side of that is he is the god of stagnation, of complacency, of contentment, of being happy where you are.
Makes sense.
So one of the jokes there is Big Daddy Nurgle always loves you. Because Nurgle loves you just as you are. He doesn't want you to change. Ever.
Okay. Wait, do they affect people at all? Like, or they just
they can
accept it?
So like Nurgle, I did want to explain one of the Chaos Gods so I could kind of go into how they affect the world. So like I said, they can send demons. They can create these demons that are a portion of them kind of split off, basically. So with Nurgle, he has these little guys called Nurglings, which are these little round goblin boys. I should have gotten pictures to send to you.
And they come up in your sleep and make you more complacent.
No, I'm pretty sure they eat you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How is that
Most
helpful?
things eat you. Most things eat you.
How is that helpful to the gods? If you're just because you don't produce like a certain emotion they need? Because if anything,
so the more humans feel that, so like the more people who are doing that, so like it's not just people actively doing it in worship of the chaos god. You being lazy is worshiping the chaos god.
Yeah, but how does the demons just eating people? How does that help the gods at all? Isn't that just removing like less? That's just taking less energy.
Well, when you die, your soul goes to the warp.
Oh, I see. Okay. And they don't leave the warp.
There we go. Those are nurglings.
And what is the point of, like, the soul casting a shadow? What effect does that have?
Like I said, the more emotion is felt of that god's domain, the more powerful they are.
Okay.
So
what are the other 3 emotions?
To explain this,
also, if you sent a picture,
corn.
I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah, I sent a picture of nurglings.
Okay.
They're just little guys.
They're not. Are you sending them through the Discord chat, or where are you sending them?
They're the Discord chat.
Yeah, they're not popping up for me.
Oh, dang.
Maybe one day.
You can Google it.
Okay.
So Khorne. Khorne is the god of battle and anger. Like, it's spelled Khorne.
Okay.
Yep. And he's more of your stereotypical demon. He's like this big, winged, kind of like a Balrog from Lord of the Rings is a good way to think of him. Not quite like that. And he is about war and violence and glory in battle and facing your opponent head on and stalwartness. So basically, in a universe where there is only war, he's a pretty big dude, right?
Yeah. That sounds like kind of the opposite of the Nurg guy.
Nurgle?
Nurgle.
So Nurgle's enemy is not Khorne, because there is a chaos god of change. Yeah, I think that's
and
Nurgle's
Khorne
enemy.
is specifically a violent change.
Yes. Not necessarily change, but just violence. So, like, his worshippers will go berserk and just go on this bloodlust rage, killing everybody in their path. Like, friend or foe. The only thing to do is cause violence. Oh, one of my favorite things about Khorne. So, there was an orc, right? And his name, I can't remember exactly, but it was Demon Killer was his last name. What is his name? Tuska Demon Killer.
Okay.
And orc culture is all about fighting, right? So Tuska was like, hey, I gotta be the biggest and the strongest, so I'm gonna go fight the demons. So he went on to go fight a bunch
accent?
Yes.
As I just...
I know,
yeah.
Shut up.
It's
spelled D-A, and that is the way.
And that is what makes it a Cockney accent.
Yes. Okay, we're at 41 minutes. I'm going to try and speed through the last 2 of these guys.
Okay.
Whew. Okay, so Khorne. I'm not going to skip the story of Tuska Demon Killer. Tuska Demon Killer. He went to go fight demons. He found specifically Khornate demons because they are the most physically strongest, right? He fights them in such a good battle that Khorne, in the warp, he goes to the warp to fight them. And the battle is so glorious that Khorne is now resurrecting them just so they can fight that battle again over and over for eternity.
Wow.
And You know who loses in that
like,
situation?
Is it like a time loop? Like he resurrects them in a time loop of it?
Once everyone dies, he reses them.
Okay, and they just keep fighting each other?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's literally the greatest scenario for both armies. The Khornate demons get to fight people, and that's all they want. The orcs get to fight demons, and that's all they want. It's fantastic.
Wow. Oh, 3-way win.
Yeah, it's a party. It's a good time. So yeah, Khorne, god of bloodlust, anger, violence, blah, blah, blah. Then you have Tzeentch. Tzeentch is the god of change. His...
Spare change.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
he is about all their quarters and dimes.
I figured, yeah.
He's about, like, you know, outsmarting your opponent. So I believe Khorne really doesn't like him. Because Khorne is about facing your opponent head on. And Tzeentch is about dishonorable warfare. Doing whatever you need to do to trick your opponent.
How does change equate to that?
It's just the general idea.
Okay.
A lot of his theming's like his main place. It's a labyrinth. I think it's called like the Labyrinth of Mirrors, or something like that. And it's an ever-changing labyrinth that basically drives you insane if you wind up in there. What is it? I don't know. I can't find it. Whatever. So, yeah, his demons, like, they're often two-headed. They have many arms. He has a lot of the, like, Cthulhu stylings with, like, tentacles and way too many eyes.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's pretty sick. I don't know a lot about him because I haven't researched him enough. But my favorite god, Slaanesh. Slaanesh is the god of excess, the god of hedonism, of dopamine. I love Slaanesh. Not because I'm a pervert. Because a lot of her, like, Slaanesh demonettes, I will say Warhammer does not represent women well. It's not great. This is a male-dominated hobby, and it is very obvious.
Where did you... never mind. I will save my questions.
Yes.
Because you're still going through.
Yeah, let me finish Slaanesh, and then we can move to questions.
Okay.
So yeah, Slaanesh is all about, like, excess, about both pleasure and pain in every way. Basically experience, which I think is why I like Slaanesh. It's because it's about the experience, both pleasurable and painful, and it's just interesting. And yeah, and, like, her demonettes, like, they will torture you. They will make your death as long and as joyful as possible.
Joyful for them?
Both.
No. How do they make a death joyful for the dire?
There's ways.
Okay.
They pump you full of drugs that make you feel pleasure every time you feel pain. There's, like, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
It's not great to be captured by a Slaaneshi.
Yeah, that.
It's not.
I mean, it sounds of the four gods, it sounds like probably the best one to be captured by, because at least you could die a pleasurable death.
Well, yeah. Kind of. You will find pleasure in it by the end of it, I think.
Me specifically?
Anybody who gets caught.
Okay. Well, at least there's some pleasure to be had.
Yes. And yeah, that's the main factions.
All right. Well, you've certainly convinced me that it is maybe the most complex fictional universe out there. I feel like...
I get to spring this on you again at some point.
Oh. I mean, I would be interested in, like, trying it out, because I feel like I need to, like, experience it before I can have any sort of opinion on it. But it sounds some pretty cool lore. Where did you come across this when you were across the pond?
No. Well, kind of. So basically, how I got into Warhammer is being a nerd, like, and in nerd culture, I would just see it, not everywhere, but every once in a while I would get to Warhammer and I'd be like, that's for the real nerds. That's not me.
Well,
and then, like, every once in a while I would just just a tiny tidbit of information about Warhammer, and I would just be like, what the fuck? What? Excuse me? And just the amount of times that's happened. Like, the purple orc line. That, again, that is the in-canon reason why when orcs try to be stealthy, they paint themselves purple. It's because, have you ever seen a purple orc?
That's true.
And that is the only explanation we get.
I have never seen any color of any orc, though. I guess they're green, typically, is what their main color is. Okay.
Yeah, they're green. But so when I went over to England, there was a couple Warhammer stories, and like I had started getting into the lore a little bit, and like just reading a couple things because again, I would hear a little tidbit of information and be like, I gotta know what this is talking about, like what's going on here. And so yeah, and that would just led into more rabbit holes, and
sounds like a pretty endless amount of rabbit holes to go down.
There is, because every day I learn more information about Warhammer that still makes me go, what the fuck? But yeah, so when I was in England, went into a Warhammer, like just a straight up Warhammer store, ended up buying some minis because they're cheaper over there because they're made there.
They have a whole store, like the Lego store. It's a whole store just dedicated to it,
just for Warhammer.
That's crazy.
Oh, it's a huge hobby. It's really fun.
How about, is it like,
very relaxing.
When you say it's a huge hobby, is that like in England? Like how have I, and I would say probably the general public, not heard of it?
It's real nerdy.
Okay. Is it like is it huge in England? Like, is it bigger or is it pretty equally everywhere?
Oh, it's bigger in England for sure.
Okay.
But it's slowly gaining popularity. Yeah, it's a big old nerd thing. I can't get around that. It's for nerds.
Okay.
Well, you buy little 2-inch figurines and you build them and paint them, and then you make
like Lego.
Then you put them in imaginary fights against each other on some felt map on your table.
And then you roll the die to see who won.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty much.
There is
some strategy
to
it.
I will say I'm intrigued. Like, it sounds like a fun game. The lore is pretty fun.
That's the biggest thing, is like it is very goofy, and it's not always aware of the fact that it's goofy, but there's enough things that like it's very self-aware. It is
self-aware?
I like to assume so.
Okay.
Okay. Not always. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, guys, what are you doing?
Okay.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff I did not cover.
I imagine. Yeah.
Which one of those factions piqued your interest the most?
I don't know. I mean, you definitely went into the most detail on the chaos one, so I feel like that's what I was the most, I don't know. I feel like I understood that one the best, just because that was what you talked the most about. So, I don't know. That one sounds pretty cool.
They're my favorite, so I know the most about them.
The organic alien creatures sounded pretty cool.
The Tyranids, cool.
I
wish I would have gone more into the Imperium.
That's kind of like the standard human.
But they are the biggest faction in 40K. Like, they're the main poster boys of the Space Marines are the poster boys of 40K. And I think I mentioned them once, which is pretty impressive. Like, I want to say, to talk about 40K for about an hour and mention Space Marines only once, I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Well, I will say you've made me intrigued. I guess that's probably, that's the only conclusion I can come to, really. But that was a lot of information.
There's going to be another episode like this.
Oh my.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, maybe you and I can... How many people does it take to play? Can you do it with just 2 people? Or...
Oh, yeah. It's usually just 2. You can play it with more, but yeah.
Nice. Is it like a role-playing game where like there's a story leader, or is it all based on rules?
It's all based on rules.
Okay.
Think space chess.
Okay. interesting.
Yeah, because the actual game is more strategy.
Okay, I like that. I could get down with that. Nice.
Hey,
and
if we're ever in the same place, I do have two. Okay, so I should say I don't actually play Warhammer 40k.
Oh my goodness, the truth comes out. He's a faker.
Warhammer 40k Kill Team.
Okay, is it another version of it, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So Warhammer 40k, it's like you will have massive armies that can cost thousands of dollars to put together. Like that's not a joke. It can.
Yeah, it's a little much.
Whereas with Kill Team, you only need about 6 models to play.
How many models do you personally own?
I own quite a few. Let's see, I don't know. I want to say like 15 or so, which isn't a lot.
Okay, sounds like
no, I own more than that. Okay, probably like 25.
Nice. Are there like full stores in America?
I honestly don't know if there's a Games Workshop store in the U.S. I'm sure there is somewhere.
Yeah. Probably not where you are.
Yeah, but it's still a relatively niche hobby. Also,
Yeah.
once I started like actually painting them, I really like it. It's very relaxing.
So they come as just like white figurines, and you paint the colors you want?
So they actually come gray, attached to basically this sheet of plastic, and you have to cut out the different parts.
Okay. So are they
glue
like
them together?
Interesting. Are they come like flat?
Like the pieces are all definition, but it's basically like it's just they injected the molding into, or injected the plastic into a mold, so it's all kind of like on a flat plane.
I see.
But
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a cool game. I'm intrigued.
It's not.
Okay. No.
It's not cool.
Sounds like a fun, interesting game.
Okay, I'll take that. But yeah,
okay.
don't call Warhammer cool. It's not. It never will be.
All right, I take it back.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm surprised I got through as much information as I did.
I mean, that was a lot. That was a lot of information.
It's a good thing no one's gonna be listening to this, because I would piss off some Warhammer fans so bad.
Because you misrepresented things, or you didn't get to everything?
Probably because I didn't mention things or said the wrong thing. Like, there's so much. I'm gonna send you a video.
Okay.
It's an hour long, but it's basically a podcast. Do you listen to things while you do other things?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I mean, I listen to music. I don't listen to a ton of. I listen to
That's fair.
a crime podcast, but I could.
That's valid.
I can maybe listen to it.
I have a podcast called Islander and Coda, which does basically Warhammer lore at this point. And they have one about the Warhammer iceberg where they start at all the normal stuff, and then it just gets progressively weirder and weirder, and it's my favorite thing on the planet.
Okay.
What
do you mean it gets weirder and weirder? Like it's the lore? It's just about lore of it, or they're playing a game?
It gets both weirder and less accurate, because we as the audience don't know. Like, there is a lot of speculation into the lore of Warhammer, which is part of the fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Well, a successful argument on your behalf, I guess.
Yes. And you agree 100%.
Sure.
You are actively falling asleep in front of me.
I have laid down lower and lower. I'm up.
He has been reclining more and more since this episode started.
This is probably our longest one yet, so.
That is true.
Yeah.
This one online. We should end this.